So in this video, I'm pretty much just going to break down my thoughts on 3A, my thoughts on the 3A finale and all that, and so far what I think about 3B and how it's going on and how it's coming about. Okay, so the 3A finale was definitely something that I was looking forward to and that I was freaking out as I was watching. I thought it was just really well done. The whole thing where it's like Derek paired off with Jennifer and Scott paired off with Deucalion, and then they have their, meet and greet fight at the distillery and all that. I thought that was kind of odd. I mean, because Deucalion even says, "Oh, brother versus brother, how American this is." I was like, no, not really. Why are Scott and Derek gonna fight each other? I thought that was kind of weird. But I did enjoy the fight. I thought it was epic, and I love how they really showed you what Jennifer was capable of in the finale, what all of this was going towards. She goes up against a whole pack of alphas, and she beats all of them. This is what this whole thing was leading up towards. And I do like how it showed Jennifer's intelligence, because if you really think about what she was doing in the 3A finale, she kind of had a trump card. She had the parents locked away in the vine cellar, and she basically had a plan going. She was manipulating, the weather, the elements and all that, because she was going to cave them in and kill them as a final sacrifice to get enough power on the fly to be able to kill Deucalion. Or she was going to have Derek help her kill Deucalion and then use the parents as a bargaining chip to escape, basically. That's how I saw it as, so they could, so either way, she has them as an ace in the hole. Her story arc, I think, was very simple. I very much enjoyed Jennifer Blake as a villainess. I thought that the whole thing about her wanting revenge and just hating what they did to her and disfiguring her the massive way they did and all that, I thought it was great. I love the fight scenes, thought they were really well done. I love the finale. Well, the thing that disappointed me about the finale is the whole thing where Jennifer gives Deucalion his sight back because Derek kind of talked her into it. I thought that was really lame. I'm sorry. I like Deucalion being the blind alpha. That to me is really interesting and really cool, and how he only has his sight when he's a werewolf and all that. I just don't understand why they felt like they had to give him his sight back, because I felt like they're giving him a new lease on life. I don't think so. I think his vision, him losing his vision, all that, while it's very tragic, and while I think that was probably the basis for his massive amounts of anger, that doesn't undo all the horrible stuff he's done, and that, if anything, I don't think would massively change his view of being an alpha, or having an alpha pack, or doing all this, this badass stuff that he's been doing, and building the all-star alpha group, and going after Scott, who's a true alpha, trying to get Scott to kill so that he's no longer a true alpha, all this stuff. I don't blame all of that on the fact that he went blind, and I don't hang his redemption on the fact that he gets his eyesight back. I thought that was all very kind of weird. I would have much preferred it if Jennifer put her hand on Deucalion and literally made him experience the pain that she went through when Kali tried to kill her. I think that would have been much, much more effective than her just healing him and giving him back his sight. If she put her hand on him and then, actually made him live through what she went through. All the pain, all the suffering that she felt and she went through, all of her rage, her anger, her betrayal, her vengeance, all of that. She forced him to experience and feel all of it. And then when she went to kill him, she was weak, and then that whole thing plays out exactly as it was supposed to play out. But he's still blind. Because the idea of a blind alpha to me is really interesting, and I think it's really cool. And I would have loved to have seen that get furthered, and so that when Deucalion comes back, he's still the blind alpha, and he's just the blind alpha of the show, and it would have been really cool. Him having his sight back just kind of downgrades his character for me, and I really didn't like the fact that they did that. So I feel like if Jennifer had just shown Deucalion everything that she'd been through, that could have changed Deucalion's view. Him seeing and actually experiencing the pain and the aftermath of what he made Kali do, that could have changed his character much better. Not him mystically getting his eyesight back. If anything, that would make him worse, maybe. I mean, I don't like that. I do love how him and Derek basically said, clean up your act. Pretty much just clean up your act, because if you start going bad again, it won't matter that you have your eyesight, because you'll never see us coming. That was amazing, and I thought that was just so great. It really shows that this is our town, we're protecting it. I thought that was fantastic. The twins nearly dying, I knew that they were going to live, because there was all this buzz about the twins, will they die or will they not die? And because, they're doing all this emphasis on saving the twins and getting them to the vet, to Deaton, to save them, I knew they were going to survive, and I knew that they weren't going to be alphas anymore, because they pretty much said that if an alpha pushes themselves to the brink of their power, they can actually lose their alphaness and no longer be an alpha, like when Derek healed Korra, or, you know, something like that. So I knew they weren't going to be alphas anymore, and like basically the whole story arc that's happening with them now, with them being betas, being outsiders again, and having to work their way into Scott's pack, I called all of that from the finale. Because the minute they got their neck snapped, and they fell to the ground, and she's like, oh, the bigger they are. That was hilarious. I love that. But I knew, I was like, something's gonna happen, they're gonna survive, but they're no longer gonna be alphas anymore, and next season they're still gonna be here in town, or they might leave town, but if they're still here, they're gonna have to go through a redemption arc. And that's exactly what they're doing, and I have to say they're doing it pretty well. It's not like, oh, well, we need you to be here to help us, so we're just automatically gonna forgive everything you've done, and we're gonna accept you into our group, like the Vampire Diaries did with Damon. They're actually going through a redemption arc. I love the moment that Aiden and Lydia have in the rave episode, whatever that episode was, whatever, you know, the Blacklight party, you know, that was, I love that episode, but she basically tells him that I helped save someone's life, and that felt really good, and when I look at you, all I can see is that you helped kill Boyd. You're not just a bad boy, you're a bad guy, and I don't want to be with the bad guys. I was like, seriously, this is what we need. When you take a character who's done horrible things in the past, you cannot just integrate them into the good guy group under the pretense of, oh, we have a feeling that they could be good, or, oh, we need them, so we must forgive them. No! They're telling them to their faces, we don't trust you, we don't want you in our group, you need to go, or just leave us alone. And then they step in and they help when they can, and they're trying to prove to them that they're not the bad guys that they actually that they think they are, that they're actually good. That, to me, actually means something. It means that these characters view themselves a certain way, and that all the other characters view them as exactly how the audience should view them, as they are. Bad guys, because they've done bad things, and they need to redeem themselves in order for us to change our perspective on them. Just like the group. And I love the story arc that they're going through with the twins now, that the twins are actually helping. I mean, they're not mega interesting. I don't really mega care about the twins. It's not like I'm tuning in to see what happens with the twins. They're just on the side. I think they're okay. If they were to leave the show, my heart wouldn't break. I only shipped Ethan because I love Danny, and seeing Danny in a relationship with anyone, you know, is cool with me. I think that him and Ethan, while they are hot together and stuff like that, I do think that Ethan being with Danny could be a great segue into Danny finding out about all the supernatural stuff. And if Danny would be brought into the plot, it would make the show even better. I mean, the parents being let in on the plot makes the show at such a higher caliber. The fact that Styles' dad is in on everything now is definitely making the story and the characters a notch above epic, which is what they were before. The twins, I'm interested in their arc. Because if they're going to be made permanent additions to the show, the cast is going to start getting really big. So I like the idea that they will be forgiven and redeemed, and that they're going to stick around, but not if they're going to, like, again, if the cast is going to become huge. There's so many characters on the show, like, now, the plot of 3B, with the whole doors being open in their minds, we're not even fully getting the full brunt of that. Like, Allison seeing the hallucinations of Kate. That hasn't happened in how many episodes, and we have no idea why she's even seeing them. A lot of people are theorizing that in the future we're going to get Allison's story with her door being open, and then Scott's story with his door being open, but this season we're getting the story of Styles and his door being open. Which is actually kind of brilliant. If you're going to throw in these plots each season, like in future seasons or future episodes that deal with each individual character's doors being open and the plot kind of centering around that, that would be kind of brilliant. And it would show that you are doing a master broad stroke with your plot, where the characters went through this literally episode-long voyage into this weird hyper-conscious state that they actually kind of had to die and then come back or whatever to find their parents. And because of this thing that they said, Deaton pretty much sits them all down and says, look, we're about to introduce a major plot point into the show that's going to involve all of you dying and restarting the Nematon. It's going to be huge, it's going to be massive, and it's going to ripple through the entire series. That's literally what he pretty much sits them down and tells them. So if Jeff and the writers are planning on taking the show in the future in the direction of, you know, each season we're going to get a different story involving each of their doors being open, that would be fine with me. I have no problem with it, because the story surrounding them opening their doors and jump-starting the Nematon is something that is going to affect the whole plot of the show, because now, like, as I said before, it's the Hellmouth now. Like Beacon Hills is Sunnydale. It's the beacon for supernatural creatures, and it's going to be drawing them in, you know? So yeah, if they do this whole thing where, like, each plot has to do with the doors being open or the spirits or whatever, that's fine. I have no problem with it because the show's writing is absolutely amazing. What they do to Scott's character becoming a true alpha, I like that. I really enjoy it. I think that Scott is a good alpha. I think that, you know, I definitely think that he's not the best leader in the world. He's definitely better than Derek. Derek fucking sucks. But, like, as a leader, not as an alpha, he's horrible. I mean, like, of the 3 werewolves he turned, 2 of them died. I'll get to that. But I think that Scott is only as good as his pack. Stiles, Lydia, Allison, Isaac. I mean, like, they're all part of his pack. I mean, like, that episode, I mean, like, in the, was it the premiere? Yes, it was. Like, in the premiere episode, when they're all sitting down and they're all talking about what's happening and they're trying to solve it, I got such feels for that. Such a Scooby Gang feel. Like, from Buffy, when they're all sitting down, doing research, talking about the weird stuff that's happening, trying to solve the problems. I love that, and I think we need to be getting more of that, more research, more of them just sitting around doing research, trying to figure out what's happening, talking about what's happening. I love it, and I got such feels from that. And, you know, speaking of that, when Kira comes in and she brings up this whole them being in a state of bardo thing or whatever, we haven't even gotten a lot of that. I feel like there's so many characters, so many stories that they're trying to tell, they're not really getting enough time to tell them. So I really hope they space everything out well enough, and that if there are stories that they want to continue that are brought up in this season, they have the good sense to understand that you could follow them through and finish them next season. I feel like this season, with everything they're going for and all the stories they're trying to tell, I feel like they're probably not going to be able to wrap everything up at the end, and they're probably going to leave some things left wide open, some storylines left wide open to be followed through and completed next season. And you can totally do that. We all love this show and we all love the stories. Scott, as an alpha, is going to do a great job. I'm really looking forward to what he'll be able to do as a true alpha, because they've been hinting at the fact that he's not going to be like a normal alpha because he's a true alpha. Maybe he can do stuff that normal alphas might not be able to do. I think that would be really interesting, and I love the whole plot that they've done with him. Like, really looking back on Scott's arc from Season 1, you guys know that I didn't really much like Scott, but he's been getting better, and I'm really enjoying Scott's character. I love Scott's character now, because now that I really am able to appreciate his whole arc, it really is, everyone's been saying this, and I agree with it, and I think that it's now fully paying off. It's been a real coming-of-age story for Scott. He was a naive kid who became this werewolf and freaked out and didn't know what to do, and then Season 2 was him about acclimatizing to being a werewolf. Season 3 was about him rising to the occasion and becoming an alpha. And now that he's an alpha, he's taking charge, he's helping, he's doing good stuff, he's really trying to be an alpha, and, you know, really trying to do good, and really trying to save his friends and keep everyone safe. I think that his arc is amazing. When I'm really able to appreciate seeing what he's done and who he was. Even that really pissed me off in Season 1 and Season 2, when he was focusing on the wrong things and freaking out and all that. I realized it's because he was still just a naive kid who was dragged into the supernatural world. But now he's acclimatized to it, he's accepted it, and he's become something amazing. And we're just going to see where the story takes him, and I think it's going to be incredible. So I really am loving Scott's character. I love what they did with him becoming a true alpha, and I love what they're doing with him now in 3B. Allison, last season to me was just a focus on how epic Allison is. I mean, like, the fact that she, like, went against what her dad told her and everything, and went off on her own, and is now sticking to her friends. I feel like this is the whole thing where it's like, she's not going to be manipulated anymore. It's not like Vampire Diaries, where Bonnie multiple times states that she's not going to be manipulated, and then she is further manipulated by everyone who walks into that damn town. She's not going to be manipulated anymore. She's going to side with her friends over all else. I mean, even last season when, even in 3A, when the Duroc, she was ready to kill her dad if it turned out that her dad was the Duroc. I mean, like, wow. Because she just has such a fucked up view of family now, in my opinion, because her family has betrayed her not once, but twice. Her aunt and then her grandfather and all that. And, like, I know that she loves her father, and I know that she wouldn't want to kill her father or anything like that, but I mean, like, if it came right down to it, she would side with her friends. She would side with Lydia, Scott, Stiles, and Isaac and all of them over her dad if it ultimately came to that, because I feel like her vision of family must be so askewed and fucked up. With what happened to her mom, with what happened again with Kate and then with Gerard. I mean, like, her family life is really fucked up, so I feel like she's really depending on her friends and the stability that her friendship relationship, that her relationship with her friends provide, over the instability that her family life has provided her with as of now, up to now. So I love what they've done with Allison. With Lydia. Oh, my heart beats so much for Lydia now. You guys know how I feel about Lydia. I've openly said that I enjoy Lydia. I really do love her. But what frustrates me about Lydia, mostly is her relationship with Styles and the way she treats Styles. She doesn't treat him horribly or anything like that. I mean, like, I've gone on tangents before about saying, like, how she treats Styles like shit and da-da-da. But that's just because of my deep, profound love for Styles. And you guys know how I feel about that. I'll get to that when I get to what they're doing so far. But what they did with her last season was absolutely incredible. When she's coming into her Banshee abilities, when she's no longer running away from what she can do, and especially now in this season when she's really trying to explore her abilities and really trying to use them to help people. Like, again, that scene with her and Aiden where she tells Aiden that she's not going to go for him or be with him anymore because he's a bad guy. She doesn't want to be with bad guys. She helped save someone's life, and that felt incredible and amazing, really good. And she wants to help people now. She wants to use her abilities to help people. They've given her really passive abilities as a Banshee. It kind of reminds me of Charmed with Phoebe, about how, you know, she was the only one of the three sisters who had the most passive of abilities. Mostly for the first multiple seasons of the show, for the first chunk of Charmed, she was the sister who could see the future and sense the future. That's it. They gave her a very passive ability, but it was a really key plot point, you know, like, oh, well, Phoebe had a vision of this and we have to stop it. That's the plot of the whole episode. That was pretty much what they did with her. She was a big part of, you know, she was a big plot device throughout the show. She was very important to the plots of the show in terms of being able to see the future and all that. I feel like that's what they're doing with Lydia. They're giving her these very passive but very important abilities, not just in her scream or whatever, but, like, as Jeff said, what she can hear. And I really want to see what they're going to do with her and where they're going to go and where they're going to take it. You know, Jeff even said they're going to be introducing more Banshees. Maybe Lydia's going to have more interaction with other Banshees, really start to get into what she is, what she can do. I can't wait, because Lydia has such an amazing arc. And, I mean, last season when she tells her mom that she doesn't want to cover up that strangle mark, beautiful character moment. She's not just going to wipe away her tears and throw on pounds of makeup to look like she's okay. She's going to wear her scars proudly and say, yes, I survived. It was amazing. And when she goes to Scott and says, I'm sick of us just finding the dead bodies. I want to be able to help people. And they actually get there. And they don't help save Kira. I don't know why everyone's like, oh, she helped save someone's life. That would have happened regardless. The Teen Wolf crew could have not shown up at that power plant at all, and the outcome would have been exactly the same. They didn't stop Beryl from electrocuting her. I helped save someone's life. No, you didn't. But I like the idea that that's her mindset. Lydia sees it as, I want to help people, I want to save someone's life, I helped save someone's life, even though you really didn't. But you know, like, she wants to be part of that. I love what they're doing with her character. It frustrates me, her treatment of Styles, and how this is why I no longer ship Lydia and Styles. I'm sorry to say, I just don't ship them anymore. It's more like I don't think they would be interesting together, because it's been built up so much. Styles' affection and love for Lydia has been built up so much that if they do get together, there's no way it's going to be, you know, as good and as amazing as a payoff as everyone wants or needs it to be. They've been really building it up, and especially the part where they're in Styles' room, Lydia and Aiden, and they're looking through his stuff in the episode where they're looking for Styles. And you know, Aiden finds a drawing of Lydia's drawing of the roots, and you know, he's like, "Oh, is this yours?" He likes you a lot, doesn't he? And then Lydia says maybe he likes the drawing a lot, and he's like, "Oh, for Lydia." And it's that whole thing, but I was like, Lydia, he's told you how he feels. He has shown you that he cares about you. He's put his life on the line for you. How are you still acting like, oh, maybe he likes the drawing a lot? And like, no, Lydia, he loves you. He's told you this. He's shown you that he cares about you. Like, that's what I don't like. I don't like how she has this kind of self-imposed naivete in regards to Styles and how Styles feels about her. That's what gets me about Lydia. I mean, like, I love Lydia as a character. I think she's great. I love how, you know, it would have been better if she addresses how Styles feels about her, but then also addresses that she doesn't feel that way about Styles. I think that would be great. I think it would be sort of like a moment where it's like, I care about Styles. I really like Styles. Styles is great as a friend, and I really care about him, and I will do everything I can to help him and to save him, but I don't love him the way that he loves me. That would be great and fine, and I would give so much props to Lydia for that. But the fact that she actually goes out of her way to kind of put up this wall and kind of be like, oh, well, you know, maybe he just likes the drawing a lot. I was like, no! Like, really? Is this how you really think about Styles? He loves you! He's told you that he cares about you, that he's had a crush on you, and that he's cared about you since you were kids. That's what gets me about Lydia. Okay, let's get to the biggest problem I have with 3A. Derek's whole relationship with Jennifer. This is the thing that literally had me screaming at my television screen as it was happening. The biggest thing for me that dragged down 3A, and that makes it, like, to me, such a frustrating season. That and Boyd and Erica. But I just want to talk about Derek and what happened with Derek and Jennifer just for a quick minute. It makes no sense for his character. Him just hooking up with Jennifer and all of that makes no sense. I think literally it could have not happened and the plot of that season would have not been affected at all. I like the idea of Derek kind of coming out of his shell and showing a softer side. I don't like, however, that his character just has sex with this random woman, like, because she really was a random woman. Did he even know her last name? It just doesn't make any sense to me. Especially the episode where we find out what happened with him and Paige, his first love, when he was a kid, and how she died, how he had to kill her. Someone mentioned this, and I totally agree with it. The pity party for Derek is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and they really want to leave it. And I was like, you know what? Me too. I want to leave this pity party too. I'm sorry. The reason why Season 2 to me is epic and amazing and I love it is because we saw a whole new side of Derek. This cocky, confident alpha side of Derek where he was smiling, where he was building his pack, where, you know, he kicked Scott's ass and all that. And, like, that's why I love Season 2 Derek because of that. Because we were done feeling sorry for him and we were ready to see him kick ass and be epic. Now, in Season 3A, it's like the pity party for him just got bigger about his tragic past, about how he had to kill the love of his life. And then knowing later what happens with Kate and how she betrays him, I don't see how he can just be so willing to just hop into bed with this woman and have all of these lovey-dovey, gooey feelings for this girl. I mean, like, it doesn't make any sense as opposed to what's happened with him in the past and his character. His character should have massive issues with women, especially women that he has feelings for and that he loves. He even tells her everyone around me gets hurt and all that. I mean, like, why would he just have I just don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense for his character, and if it hadn't happened, the story of that season would not have been affected, or his character even at all. I like the idea that, as I said before, this is what should have happened, right? Derek's wandering around looking for people to help him, but he tries to go to the vet's office, but he can't because the alphas are there. He tries to look for Scott or Styles or anyone, but they're all gone out of town on that stupid track meet or whatever. So he wanders around and he stumbles upon Jennifer. Jennifer takes him back to his loft, and then she tears his loft apart looking for bandages or needles and thread and all that. She finds them, she patches him up, and then the next morning, he wakes up, he sees he's patched up, he sees Jennifer, and he's like, you saved my life. And she's like, oh, well, I guess we're even. They go out to eat, and then the next episode, we see, and then the next episode, you know, like, when it opens, Derek isn't in his loft reading or something, he's just getting home from going out with Jennifer, and they have their first kiss. And then all that tragic stuff happens. He never has sex with her, they never have their moments where it's like, oh, we're all lovey-dovey. That she just kind of seduces him and kind of gets him to open up to him. Him banging her and him just, like, rolling, like Isaac says, rolling around in the sheets with the killer doesn't make any sense for all the stuff he's been through. Not because I'm a style shipper, not because I'm a Derek shipper, but because in the sense of what they're doing for Derek, it just doesn't make any sense. For a show that does its characters really well, that was a huge character mistake in my opinion. And a lot of people agree with me on that. It just doesn't make any sense. Okay. Now, let's get to the second biggest problem I have with 3A. The death of Erica and Boyd. Why the hell did they kill off Erica? Why? Why not just replace the actress? I know that, you know, Jeff loves his continuity, and for someone who loves his continuity, as I just mentioned, you completely screwed over Derek's character continuity. It was really weird that he did that. It didn't make any sense for his character. Why the hell did you kill off Erica? Just replace the actress. Not to sound like a dick, but I mean, like, there's gotta be 1,000,001 talented, blonde, busty actresses who would have scratched someone's eyes out to get that role in this show. You should have just replaced Erica, because bringing in Cora, what purpose did that serve for the plot and the story? To bring in Derek's long-lost sister. It served no point in the show. You could have replaced Erica. And had Cora been swapped out with an Erica replacement, and that plot would not have been affected whatsoever. Even him giving up his alpha ability to save Erica would have made sense, because it's like she is one of the few last surviving members of his pack, so he gives up his alpha ability to save her. it would have been just as good, and it would have been just as meaningful. And then now in 3B that we're starting up, they say how Erica left town with her dad. That after everything that happened with Boyd, after being abducted, after all that bullshit, now that the Alphas are dead or out of town or whatever, she left town. I have no problem. Like, Boyd dying really pissed me off because he really was the token, and I feel like his character could have been so much more. But I feel like him dying could have really facilitated Erica's exit from the show. It's like, oh my god, well, she's gone, and, you know, like, her being dead and being gone are pretty much the same thing. No, I don't think so, because we could totally get Erica coming back. Erica comes back, and she becomes a central part of the show again. I think that would make all the sense in the world. Or just keep her. Just keep Erica on the show. I feel like Boyd dying is something that really upsets me because his character could have been so much more, but I feel like him also dying really shook the show to its core and was like, this is serious, we're entering serious territory, someone has died. And I feel like Boyd really is affecting the show more in death than he did when he was alive, and that is a real shame, especially since I knew he was going to die too. Because the episode before that with Motel Hell, where we get that whole backstory with him and his sister, you know, falling through the ice and dying and all that, I was like, wow, they are really shoving in a lot of character development for him. He's going to die soon. Next episode, he's dead. Black character gets a lot of dialogue in an episode, that means that they're going to die soon. That is so sickening to me. It's really upsetting. Seriously, especially when I watch shows like The Vampire Diaries, where all the black characters get killed off or are just stupid plot devices and get no real character development. Same thing with Boyd, and that really upset me. I would have liked if they just replaced Erica. It comes back. Erica and Boyd tell their story about how they survived in that vault together for months. They fell in love. They were a couple. They're together. And they're the only ones keeping each other together. Then when Boyd died, Erica breaks down, and then in the season finale, she leaves town with her dad, and Derek leaves town. And then Derek comes back, and they ask him about Erica, if he knows anything about Erica. And then, Derek's like, yeah, you know, I still talk with Erica. I still keep tabs on her. She's in the city living with her. She left. She's living somewhere off in some city with her dad. Blah 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 blah. That would have been just as good, and it wouldn't have affected the plot in any way. They should not have killed Erica off, because then they could do this whole thing where Erica moves back to town for God knows what reason, and then she becomes a main plot part in the story, and maybe her and Styles hook up. Seriously, but killing off both Boyd and Erica, it makes Derek building a pack in Season 2 feel kind of pointless. I mean, not so much so because we still have Isaac, and Isaac is still here, but it's still frustrating to me, because then it's like, really? So out of the 3, only 1 survived. I don't like it. I like the idea that Erica is alive and that she's just out of town now. Like Cora. Like, they could have... Exactly what they did with Cora, do it with an Erica replacement. Boyd dying, it was frustrating, but I feel like his character's death has really, you know, facilitated the redemption arc with the twins. His character really has affected the show more in death than he ever did in life. But I feel like his character should have gotten more development than he did, ultimately. So that when he does die, people are really bummed by Boyd's death. Like... 50% of the fans are bummed, the other 50 don't give a crap. And I feel like it could have been at least, that number could have been at least shifted if Boyd had just gotten more development. Because a lot of people liked Boyd, and they liked him because of his potential. I loved Boyd because of his potential, and I loved Erica, Boyd, and Isaac because of their potential. They were new characters that were brought in, they were the baby wolves, I mean, like, they had so much potential. And I really like what they're doing with Isaac now. I mean, like that episode where they paired him off with, Allison and her father, Silverfinger, loved it. I thought that was amazing. Loved it. Great episode. And I love that pair up. How he goes in there and does that whole thing. Amazing! They come into school, like Styles and Scott come into school, and Styles is telling Scott that he's the hot girl that every guy wants, and then Isaac comes in, and then Scott's like, I'm the hot girl, and then, you know, Styles is like, you are the hottest girl. He walks away, and then Isaac goes, what? And then Scott looks at Isaac and he goes, I'm the hot girl. And then Isaac goes, yes, you are. And then Scott walks away, and then Isaac just has this big smile on his face. I feel happy for Isaac, because after everything he's been through, his abusive father, being shoved in the freezer, all that crazy bullshit, I feel like now he feels like he's part of an actual family. You know, he's living with Scott. Him and Scott's relationship is becoming more profound. They're really teasing with him and Allison. I have no problem with him and Allison getting together, but I feel like it's going to be more of a lustful relationship than more of a loving relationship. I feel like there's not going to be a deep, meaningful connection there. It's going to be more about physical intimacy and lust, not so much about love. Scott and Allison, there was definitely love there, and I feel like that's definitely what could be happening with Scott and Kira. Because they're not focusing so much, like Allison and Isaac, they're really focusing on the physical intimacy and the lust. Whereas with Scott and Kira, they're really bonding, they're talking, they're connecting on an emotional level, and I can see that blossoming into love. I really see Allison and Isaac's relationship blossoming into love because they've really been focusing more on the physical intimacy and on the lust. Whereas with Scott and Kira, they've really been focusing on the emotional intimacy and them sharing their emotions and feelings and talking about it. And Scott is really the only person that Kira opens up to about being a kitsune. And just really, I'm really shipping Kira and Scott now. Allison and Isaac, not so much, and Lydia and Stiles, not so much either, because Lydia and Stiles has been overblownly built up, and Lydia's treatment of Stiles shows me that she does not reciprocate these feelings of love. I think she cares about him, but she doesn't love him the same way that he loves her. With Allison and Isaac, I don't know, because there's not a lot of emotional connecting there. It's a lot of physical stuff, not a lot of emotional connection. Stiles! Oh my god. Finally, we are getting a story that is Stiles-centric. This whole season, as of last episode, moving forward, is going to be all about Stiles. And Jeff even came out and said that this dark storyline with Stiles is going to last a while. And I really hope that means that it's going to last all the way up until the finale, because Dylan O'Brien, I'm just going to say it, I'm just going to put it out there, he is the most talented actor of this entire cast. Because there are moments, I'm just going to say this, there are moments when the rest of the cast, particularly with Posey, where I'm watching and I'm like, you know, you're acting right now, and I know you're acting. You know, I'm not putting them down because I think they're all talented in their own right. I think they all play their characters extremely well. I think that they're all doing so much justice to the characters and to the show, and that the cast is definitely one of the big reasons why everyone watches the show. But I mean, O'Brien can just do so much with, it's incredible. When he's on screen and he's doing his thing, I forget that I'm watching the show. I mean, like, the episode Riddled is so far my favorite episode of this season, including the rave episode, because as epic as the rave episode was with the chick who, you know, her girlfriend died in 3A, she was sacrificed, and Stiles meets her and talks to her. I love that the show reuses his extras. I love that, because it's a small town, everyone bumps into each other everywhere, so I like the idea that everyone keeps running into people that we've seen in the past, because that's amazing. So I like that they meet, and like the whole thing where they're making out, and he's like, oh, I thought you liked girls. I do. Do you? Yeah, I do. But you also like boys. Yeah. Do you? And Stiles is kind of like, Everyone has been saying that Stiles could be a bisexual character, and everyone's been, you know, shipping this and shipping everyone else with Stiles and just going for it and really running with it. But to have this moment with Stiles where he actually kind of stops and is just like, Jeff, you're twisting my mind into a pretzel, and I swear to God, if you put this in here and you have no plans for giving Stiles any kind of relationship story, or even anything with just like a guy in the future, I am gonna lose my shit on you. Because like, why would you put that in there if you have absolutely no plans for anything like that? And I'm just gonna put this out there as well. If Stiles is going to actually get together with the dude, it has to be Danny. It has to be Danny, because their interactions have been fantastic since the first season, and I feel like there's always been a part of me that thinks that Danny puts up with Stiles because he has a thing for Stiles on some level. He thinks Stiles is cute, or just thinks Stiles is funny and quirky or whatever, because Danny really does, like, really think about it, Danny does kind of put up with Stiles. He seriously does. And especially last season when they're on the bus and he's with Ethan, and then like Stiles like texting him like crazy, and Danny texts him back, you know, like, it's just, I feel like he really puts up with Stiles a lot, and it would make total sense if he kind of on some level has a bit of a thing for Stiles, you know, because Stiles, everyone loves Stiles. So I think if they are going to give Stiles some kind of bisexual storyline or whatever, or they're going to have Stiles actually kind of explore that, Danny or no one. With him and Lydia getting together, I don't like it. I think it would be so much more interesting if he actually did hook up with the chick that he met at the rave party, the bisexual lesbian last season, but now is into Stiles chick. I think that if he hooked up with her, that would be great. Not in terms of developing like an actual relationship, but just like he hooks up with her. Done. Loses his V card, it's over with. And then maybe he has kind of a thing with Danny, and then maybe he kind of starts up a thing with Lydia after that. That would be fine, great, perfect, and it would all fit together really well for his character. I just really hope that they didn't put that in there as kind of like like a little nudge to the fans, like, well, everyone's saying that Styles might be bisexual, so here you go. Just kind of, we're throwing you a bone. No. I really hope you put that in there because you're giving him something in the future that is going to be really kind of interesting and actually give us that, because the only other bisexual character that I watch in media is in Lost Girl, and the way that they're handling it, the way that they handled Bo getting together with Lauren, in my opinion, was just not very well done, because Lauren's on the run and all this stuff, and oh, the betrayal, blah, blah, blah. Like they didn't really give Docubus, which what it's being called, they didn't really give it, for, in my opinion, a fair shake. I mean, like, with her and Dyson and all that, they gave it so much crap, but Docubus, like Lauren and Bo hooking up, they didn't give it much. So I'm not getting, I've said this, and I'll say it again, I don't have enough LGBT on my TV, and I need more of it. So if they make Styles bisexual, and they actually start giving him this kind of story, like his own kind of personal character story of, like, bisexuality and stuff like that, my mind will officially explode. It's already exploding now, because the storyline they're giving Styles this season is majorly interesting, and I really love what they're doing with him in terms of the Japanese mythology and the kid and the Nogitsune. Everyone and their mother has looked up the Nogitsune in terms of trying to figure out what the fuck is going on with Styles. And if you really have read into it, you know that Jeff has read into it, and he's incorporating all kinds of stuff of Nogitsune possession mythology into the show. It's all mega interesting, and I love what they're doing it with Styles' character, about how the Nogitsune feeds on chaos and strife and destruction. And I feel like next episode, that what they're going to be doing with Styles is that he's hid the Nogitsune inside of him, or Nogitsu Styles, that people are calling it. Like, it's Nogitsune, so people are calling it Nogitsu Styles. So, Nogitsu Styles is going to be running around town, causing havoc and chaos and destruction and strife and just all this horrible stuff to feed off of the resulting chaos. And I feel like that's going to be mega interesting, because the last time that to our knowledge there was a Nogitsune, it was possessing the body of some, Yakuza crime boss. So the Nogitsunes definitely put themselves at the center of chaos and just craziness, because they feed off of that resulting stuff. So why did it choose Styles? Like Derek even said, why not go after someone bigger and special? I mean, if all this thing needs is an open door and some foxfire, why not go for Scott? I mean, then he's in the body of a true alpha, and he has the power of a Nogitsune. I mean, like, that's like twice as powerful as you are now. Why Styles? It chose Styles for a reason, and I really want to know why. And the fact that Styles' mother went through the exact same thing makes me believe that she was probably also under, like, Nogitsune possession, or a Nogitsune was trying to possess her or something, and that's what led to her dying. So the fact that we're delving into Styles' character, the fact that Styles is at the center of the supernatural plotline, and the fact that we're learning more about Styles' family and his mother and what happened with her and all that, makes this season officially, in my eyes, the best so far, because Styles was such a small part of the plot before. Really think about it, Styles had absolutely nothing to do, has had absolutely nothing to do with any of the supernatural plots of Teen Wolf. He was always just the normal human character who was just along for the ride because he could help and because he cared about his friends and would do anything to help them. Now he is actually at the center of the supernatural plotline, and everyone is scrambling to help him. And it was just made, like, the episode riddled when everyone hauled together to try to find Styles. Absolutely amazing, and I love that he's getting his due. He's getting his attention. Everyone loves Styles, and we haven't seen much of the Kitsune talking through Styles or possessing Styles or Styles' behavior as the Nogitsune, and I think that Dylan is definitely going to blow us all away with it. But I really hope that, in terms of what the Nogitsune wants and what it's after and why it chose Styles, that it's amazing and it's epic. Because to take a character like Styles that everyone loves, that everyone's loved since the beginning, there's no one in this fan base who doesn't like Styles. Everyone likes Styles. Even if he's not your favorite character, everyone likes him. So the fact that you're going to take this character who is the only true human, normal human character, like even Allison, in my opinion, doesn't really count, because she comes from a family of hunters. She herself was a trained kick-ass huntress, warrior, princess. I mean, like, so Allison, in my opinion, doesn't count. Styles is completely 100% normal and human. He comes from, as far as we know, normal human. He was raised by a normal human dad. He's just he comes from normalcy. He is the most normal, most human character on the show. Why would the Nogitsune choose him? And he has been here along for the ride for the first 2.5 seasons, and now we're getting a story where he's actually a part of the supernatural plot. And I cannot wait to see where that goes. I can't wait to hear and find out why the Nogitsune chose him out of everyone else it could have jumped into. And I really want to find out where the story with him is going to go. And I hope that he stays possessed for as long as possible, because I want to see Dylan O'Brien continue to just shake me to my core with his incredible acting. I mean, when he's crying, when he's portraying pain, when he is just losing, I feel horrible because all this stuff is happening to Styles, but I love it because I love seeing Dylan portray that on screen. It moves me, and I want him to continue to move me. You know, like, it's like freaking Vampire Diaries with Jeremy, Matt, and Tyler. You know, these are three characters who were very much side characters who weren't really touched on at all, but all three of them are mega talented actors, and they could have given us incredible storylines with them, and we could have been blown away by what they give us. And we never were. But with this show, like Jeff even said that the minute they brought him in, they knew that they found their snarky, sarcastic, comic relief sidekick. But the minute that they saw that he could do drama and how well he could do drama, they knew they were going to give him a dark storyline. And they're giving him a dark storyline, and he's blowing everyone away. I think he is so talented. I hope he stays possessed for as long as possible, and we milk this Styles-centric plot line, with Styles being the center of the supernatural storyline for this season. I hope we milk it for all it's worth, and we get our money's worth for it, because it is absolutely freaking amazing, and I love it. I think it's absolutely incredible. And that's what's making this season so far my favorite season, because Styles and Dylan O'Brien's portrayal of Styles going through everything that he's going through is absolutely blowing me away. It's incredible, and I really love it. The WTF episodes of this season, for me, were definitely the ones about Malia and her being a were-coyote, that whole storyline, who is basically, Malia, like, you know, the whole were-coyote storyline like that. Really, that had absolutely nothing to do with the plot that's going on with the Kitsune or the Oni or the no Kitsune. It had absolutely nothing to do with anything. It was just there for filler, in my opinion. I think it was there to introduce a new character. I feel like Malia is probably going to come back later on, because she is a shapeshifter, and she, you know, can become a true coyote, and, you know, she's a teenager, so she could go back to school with them, and she could become an integral part of the plot. Maybe her and Styles will hook up. I don't know, but I think it's really interesting that they chose to introduce another character in there. Maybe she'll be like the female Danny, where it's like she's a side character, and she's in the background, and she's not really causing a huge fuss, but she comes in every now and then, and we like to see her. It's like, oh, hey, Malia, hey, look, it's Malia over there, and then she's gone. Maybe she's going to become part of a future, more important plot that has to do with were-coyotes. I don't know. And also, I'm just going to ask this. Why were-coyote? Why not werewolves? Because the thing about this show is that, like, I know we realize it's mixing and matching its mythologies, but, I mean, like, if you're going to start introducing multiple types of wares, then is it going to be like True Blood or the Sookie Stackhouse novels, where it's like there's were-tigers, were-panthers, were-foxes, were-cats, were-dogs, were-ducks, were-turtles, were-alpacas? I mean, like, seriously, are there all kinds of wares out there? I don't understand why. What was so important to the plot where it's like she had to be a coyote and not just a wolf? I mean, like, if she was just a werewolf, that would have been so much better, in my opinion. I think it would have made more sense, too, if she was just a werewolf. Like, why make her a were-coyote? Why a were-coyote? It would have been better, and it would have made more sense, and I would have liked it more if she was just a werewolf. It's not like, it just kind of, I'm not going to say it took me out of the episode, but it distracted me, because I kept thinking to myself, were-coyote? So, are there different types of wares? How many different types of wares are there? You know what I mean? It was weird. I don't understand why they made her a were-coyote, not a werewolf. But those were just the WTF episodes for me, because it's just kind of like, it had nothing to do with the main plot of the story. They were filler episodes. And in my opinion, with everything you've got going on this season, like I said before, with all these stories, not really having enough time to tell them, why would you put in like 2 episodes that are just filler? Now, in terms of the kind of underlining plot of this season, how we're getting into the town's history and all these unsolved cases, I absolutely adore that, because there's only so many times you can have a psycho running around a small town killing people. We've had that for 2.5 seasons, with season 1, season 2, and season 3A. We had all these murders happening, we had all these different psychos running around. It gets old after a while, this whole murder mystery thing. I mean, like, it gets old, you know? We've had it for 1, 2, and we've got 2.5 seasons, you know? Practically 3 seasons, because it was 12 episodes, then 12 episodes. I mean, like, murder mystery, whodunit, murder mystery, whodunit, murder mystery, whodunit. Now, we're delving more into the history of the town, about all these unsolved supernatural cases, and digging them up, and solving them, and, you know, all this stuff. I think that is just so amazing, so much better. I love Styles' little unsolved cases collage he has on his wall, with all his red strings, and what was up with all the red strings being, like, stabbed into his bed with the scissors? I mean, like, I'm so intrigued with this now that we're getting into the whole unsolved cases of the past thing, and we're going to be digging up unsolved cases and solving them. That's sort of the underlining plot of this season, right beneath the whole Kitsune, no Kitsune, Oni storyline thing. So yes, my final thoughts is this. While 3A was really good, it had some of the most frustrating things I've ever seen in Teen Wolf on it. And I think that 3B is definitely beating everything prior, mostly because it's taking my favorite character styles and everyone's lovable, likable character styles, who is the only completely 100% normal human on the show, very much sort of like the Xander of the show, and it's giving him this mega important storyline. And with such a talented actor backing it, it makes it even more impactful. I am really loving 3B. I think it is definitely the best so far, and I just cannot wait to see what happens next. I've watched every clip, I've watched every sneak preview for next episode, and it just looks so incredible, and I cannot wait to see a Styles fight scene where Styles comes in as a Nogitsune and kicks everyone's ass. That would be so incredible and amazing, and I'm gonna just say, I've seen a scene for next week where Derek is going to Allison's dad, and he's like, "So you're looking for Styles?" And we're both looking for Styles. And you mind if I ask what you're gonna do if you find him? And he's like, "Well, that depends on what Styles I find." And I was like, "Why are you asking, Derek? Are you concerned about Styles?" I'm sorry, it's just like my Steric feels just kind of pop out at that moment. But I'm so excited about 3B, and I love where they're going with it. I love the whole fact that we're not dealing with this whole murder mystery BS that we've been dealing with for the last 3 seasons. I love the murder mystery stuff. It's just, I feel like it can't happen 4 times in a row, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna get old after a while. I like the idea that we're delving into the town's history, into the town's past, that we're digging up all these unsolved cases. I love that we're getting into Japanese mythology now, that Jeff is really showing that the show blends different mythologies together. All different mythologies and all different supernatural stories have different roots in different cultures all over the world. The fact that they're keeping true to these roots and to these cultures and to their beliefs and to where they come from and what the creatures are, I love. And the fact that they're blending it all together where it's like, yes, there's all these different types of supernatural things that come from all these different cultures, that they all exist and they're all intersecting in this one town. I have no problem with that. In fact, it's what I love about the show. So, yes, 3A was good, but ultimately really frustrating. 3B is the best one so far. Now, as a side note, this is the final thing I'm going to close with. Jackson. Him being gone. Let me just clarify. I've said this before, so I'll say it one more time. I hated Jackson. I really hated Jackson. I hated him so much because he was such an asshole. But what I loved about Jackson was the potential that he had, the potential as a character. We could have really delved into his character, and especially after season 2, when he kills all those people under the control of Matt and Gerard, and he does all this horrible stuff, how his character would have been affected by that, and how his character would have changed for the better, and probably opened up a whole new chapter of his personality and of his life, in order to redeem himself and kind of become a better person because of that. That is what I found so interesting about him, and that is why I was so upset to hear that he was leaving. Because to see a character that I loathed, but was really interesting psychologically, go through 2 seasons of crap, and then finally, at the end of the 2nd season, last time we ever see him, he finally kind of rises from the ashes in a very real way, and, he could totally have become such a good, interesting character. Someone who, through his past trauma and past experience is not going to be the same person anymore. He's going to try to be better. He's going to try to be more involved, more caring, like Lydia, like how she helped save someone's life and that felt really good. Maybe it could have been the same with Jackson and it would have been great, especially with the whole Alpha Pack thing. It could have been really interesting, really great, and I would have totally loved it. It's not about me loving Jackson because I hated Jackson. It's about me loving Jackson's potential. I absolutely hated his character, but what his character could have been and his potential, especially after the events of season 2, was so interesting to me, and I wanted to see it. And then he leaves, and that's why I was so sad. Is the show dragged down by him not being there? Absolutely fucking not. This show is amazing, it's great, the rest of the cast is holding their chops, the story is so well done and so well written that my heart is exploding. So the show does not get dragged down, it is not affected by him being gone at all. 3A was still great and amazing, and I still really enjoyed 3A without him being there. But I do feel that it was such a loss because of what his character could have been. So yes, those are my final thoughts on the 3A finale, 3A as a whole, and 3B so far. Alright, good luck and luck, good luck and love, comment, respond. Peace.
Next on Teen Wolf.
Styles really do this.
Whatever's controlling him did it. Whatever's inside him.
Well, then how do we get whatever's inside of him the hell out of him?
I'm working on it. When he gets in there, he feeds of chaos, strife, and pain. Now, give it to me.